It is the morning of February 23rd, 1763. The slaves on plantation Magdalenburg in the Kanji River revolt against their Dutch masters. They kill the estate manager and several others, loot and set fire to buildings. They then storm the nearby estate of La Providence with similar success. News of the Kanji revolt spreads like wildfire to the several dozen plantations along the Berbice River. By sheer coincidence, the captive Africans there, under the leadership of Kofi, had been secretly planning a massive rebellion of their own. The Kanji revolt triggers the Berbice River slaves into action. They rise up in unison on several estates. The Great Berbice Slave Rebellion has started. The revolutionaries have one clear objective in mind: to achieve their total liberation by expelling the Dutch from the entire colony of Berbice. If all goes according to plan, this would be the first successful slave revolt in history. At the dawn of the year 1763, Berbice is a Dutch-owned colony, administered separately from Demerara and Essequibo. All of its lands are owned by Dutch merchants in a joint stock company called the Society of Berbice. They establish 11 sugar estates along the Berbice River, such as Dagorad, Preeboom, and Savonnet. The Society of Berbice offers land for leasing to Dutch citizens interested in setting up plantations in the colony. Several families from Holland take up the offer. By 1763, over 80 private estates are operating along the Kanji and Berbice rivers. These include Magdalenburg, Hollandia, Vigilante, Lilienburg, and Zeelandia. Captive Africans are the main workforce on both the private and society estates. In 1763, in the colony of Berbice, the seat of government is in New Amsterdam, situated 12 miles up the Berbice River. Just next to it is Fort Nassau. The Dutch governor of Berbice is Wilfred Simon van Hugenheim, an extremely resolute Dutchman. His strong sense of duty in the face of chaos and calamity is to play a major role in shaping events along the Berbice River in the coming months. Prior to the Great Berbice Slave Rebellion, the population in the colony is put at just over 300 Europeans and 4,000 captive Africans. Also present in the colony are Amerindians. They too are to have a significant impact on the eventual outcome of the 1763 Slave Rebellion. By late February 1763, the revolutionaries are in control of all the plantations in the upper Berbice above Fort Nassau. That Kofi could mastermind in total secrecy so massive an operation across so many estates testifies to his talents as a soldier, organizer, and leader. The swift success of the rebellion, however, comes at a tremendous cost to the Europeans who are captured. Several are tortured and killed. The largest execution of Dutch occurs at plantation Preeboom. Several planters with their families had abandoned their own estates and sought refuge at Preeboom. On March 3rd, hundreds of revolutionaries under the command of Kossel encircle and attack the residents on the estate, where 60 Dutch are holding out. A fierce day-long battle ensues. As the Dutch become increasingly desperate, they open negotiations with Kossel. Kossel manages to lure them out under the pretext of safe passage. Once outside, the whites are quickly set upon. Several are killed. Of those captured, the revolutionaries inflict punishment depending on how the Dutch had treated them as slaves. As it turns out, the lives of a few whites are spared including the clergyman and his family. The estate doctor, however, is put to death. The revolutionaries accuse him of poisoning their sick in the hospital. Most of the Dutch who manage to escape or whose lives are spared converge in blind panic on Fort Nassau. Others flee along Indian trails to Demerara. Governor Van Guggenheim tries to restore calm to the frenzied gathering of soldiers, sailors, planters, residents, and government officials. Almost all have one simple desire: to abandon the colony and sail for Holland immediately. They are in mortal fear that the revolutionaries will soon attack Fort Nassau. As Governor Van Guggenheim describes it in his journal,
various reports and rumors say that the rebels are coming down to the fort. These rumors caused great consternation among the inhabitants, who seemed to think of nothing else except taking their goods and furniture onto the ships for safety. Several burghers ran up, all out of breath, shouting and screaming that the rebels are making for us and had already been seen in the savannah by the fort. Hereupon, I immediately sent a patrol on horseback to see whether the news was true or false. Having returned, the patrol reported neither to have seen nor discovered anything.
On March 8, Kofi and his second-in-command, Akara, sent a letter to the governor explaining the cause and objective of the rebellion. The two chiefs blamed the cruel and inhumane treatment of slaves on the privately owned estates as the reason for the revolt. Furthermore, Kofi and Akara advised the governor to leave with his ships as speedily as possible for Holland. Should the governor choose to stay, they warned, their forces will attack in large numbers. Van Guggenheim, however, stays his ground. He has no intention of abandoning the colony. He considers Fort Nassau too vulnerable and decides to move all and sundry to St. Andrews, opposite Crab Island on the coast. On March 17th, on arriving in St. Andrews, he describes the situation in his journal.
The most unpleasant and most precarious plight that can possibly be imagined on the extreme borders of this unfortunate colony in a desert savannah, without any hope of any assistance or escape, few provisions, and many mouths to feed. The latter, for the greater part, took everything with bad grace, and grumbled that the ships could not be allowed to leave at once for Holland.
Indeed, food supplies and drinking water are in short supply. The governor wastes no time in sending urgent requests for help to the nearby Dutch colonies of Suriname, Essequibo, and Demerara, Eustatius in the Caribbean Sea, and to the directors of the company in Holland. He then waits for the revolutionaries to make their next move.